The year was 2247, and humanity had reached farther into space than ever before. Rockets, shuttles, and massive starships now traveled between planets, moons, and even distant solar systems. Among these missions, one stood out, not because it was planned or expected, but because of what it found. This mission belonged to Commander Alex Carter and his crew aboard the Horizon, a sleek and sturdy starship designed for deep space exploration. Their task seemed simple at first: investigate an unusual signal detected near Proxima Centauri. But what they discovered would change everything. The journey began weeks earlier when Earth's orbital observatories picked up strange readings coming from the edge of the Proxima Centauri system. The signals were faint, almost like whispers in the vastness of space, but they pulsed with a rhythm that suggested intelligence, or at least design. Scientists on Earth debated whether it was natural or artificial, but no one could deny its importance. If this was evidence of alien life or technology, it could rewrite history. So the Horizon was dispatched to find answers. Commander Alex Carter was a calm and steady leader, known for his ability to think clearly under pressure. He trusted his team completely, especially Lieutenant Ryan Cole, the ship's engineer, who could fix anything with enough time and tools. Then there was Captain Maria Lopez, a sharp-eyed pilot who handled the Horizon as if it were an extension of her own body. Lastly, there was Dr. Elena Myers, the astrophysicist whose brilliant mind often solved problems others couldn't even begin to understand. Together they formed a tight-knit group, ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. As the Horizon approached the source of the signal, the crew gathered on the bridge, staring out at the endless blackness dotted with stars. The tension was thick. Though no one spoke about it, they all felt it: the weight of discovery, the possibility of finding something beyond human comprehension. The ship's sensors scanned the area, searching for anything unusual. At first, nothing appeared, just empty space, but then something changed. "Commander," said Ryan, breaking the silence. His voice was low but urgent. "You need to see this." Alex moved closer to the main screen where Ryan had pulled up the latest scan data. There, floating silently in the void, was an object so large it defied belief. It stretched across kilometers, its surface metallic and scarred with age. Its shape was unmistakably that of a ship, but not like any ship humanity had ever built. It looked ancient, yet powerful, as if it had been waiting patiently for someone to find it. "What is that thing?" Maria asked, her eyes wide with disbelief. "I don't know," Alex replied, his tone measured but filled with awe. "But we're going to find out." Dr. Myers leaned forward, studying the image intently. "It's not human-made," she said, after a moment. Her voice carried both excitement and caution. "Look at the design. It's too advanced, too different. And those markings along the hull, they're some kind of script." "Script?" Alex repeated, raising an eyebrow. "Alien writing?" "It's possible," Elena admitted, "but I'll need more time to analyze it. Whatever this is, it's old, really old. Thousands, maybe millions of years." The decision was made quickly. They would send a boarding party to explore the mysterious craft. Alex led the team himself, accompanied by Ryan, Maria, and Elena. As they suited up and prepared to leave the Horizon, the airlock hissed open, revealing the vastness of space beyond. The alien ship loomed ahead of them, its sheer size making the Horizon look like a toy in comparison. The boarding process was nerve-wracking. The alien ship didn't seem to have any obvious entry points, but after some searching, Ryan managed to locate what appeared to be a hatch. With careful adjustments using his tools, he coaxed it open, revealing a dark corridor inside. The team stepped cautiously onto the alien vessel, their boots echoing softly against the cold metallic floor. Inside, the atmosphere was eerie. The walls were smooth and unadorned except for strange symbols etched into the metal, glowing faintly, with an otherworldly light. The air smelled stale, as if it hadn't been disturbed in centuries. Maria kept her hand near her weapon, scanning the shadows for movement while Ryan examined the walls and ceiling for signs of traps or hazards. Alex stayed focused, leading the way with determination. Elena, meanwhile, was mesmerized by the symbols, already trying to piece together their meaning. They moved deeper into the ship, each step taking them further into the unknown. The corridors twisted and turned, forming a labyrinth that seemed to defy logic. It was as if the ship had been designed without consideration for human senses or intuition. Still, they pressed on, driven by curiosity and duty. Finally, they reached a large chamber. In the center of the room stood a console, unlike anything they'd seen before. It was covered in more of the glowing symbols, arranged in patterns that hinted at functionality. Ryan approached it carefully, examining the controls with a mix of fascination and trepidation. "This looks like some kind of interface," he said, running his gloved fingers over the surface. "If I can figure out how it works." Before he could finish, the room suddenly lit up. Bright lights flared to life, illuminating every corner. The team froze, unsure of what to expect. Then a holographic figure appeared before them, a tall humanoid shape composed entirely of shimmering blue light. Its features were indistinct, but its presence was undeniable. For a moment, no one spoke. The figure remained still, observing them silently. Then it began to move, gesturing with long, flowing motions. A sound filled the chamber, a series of tones and clicks that formed a language none of them recognized. Elena immediately activated her translation device, hoping to decipher the message. "It's warning us," she said after a few tense moments. "About something, a threat. I can't make out all the details yet, but it's clear this ship was built to fight." "To fight what?" Alex asked, his voice steady despite the growing unease. Elena hesitated, her brow furrowed in concentration. "I'm not sure, but whatever it is, it's big. Bigger than anything we've faced before." The implications weighed heavily on the team. They had stumbled upon something far greater than they could have imagined, a relic of an ancient civilization, built to combat a danger that might still exist. As they stood there, surrounded by the remnants of a long-lost culture, they realized their mission had just become infinitely more complicated and infinitely more important. Commander Alex Carter glanced at his team, seeing the same mix of wonder and apprehension reflected in their faces. Whatever lay ahead, they would face it together. For now, though, they had only questions and the hope that answers would come soon enough. Back aboard the Horizon, the crew gathered in the ship's main conference room. The discovery of the alien vessel had left them with more questions than answers. Each member of the team was trying to process what they had seen: the massive structure, the glowing symbols, and the mysterious hologram that seemed to speak in riddles. They knew they couldn't just leave it behind, but deciding what to do next wasn't easy. Commander Alex Carter stood at the head of the table, his expression thoughtful. "We have two options," he began, his voice calm but firm. "We can report back to Earth, tell them what we've found and wait for further instructions, or we can try to activate the ship ourselves and see what happens." Ryan, the engineer, leaned forward, his hands clasped tightly together. "If we call Earth now, it could take months for them to send another team out here. By then, who knows what might happen? That ship has been sitting there for thousands of years. It's not going anywhere. But if we wait too long, we might miss our chance to figure out why it's here." Maria nodded in agreement. "I don't like the idea of leaving it alone either. What if someone else finds it first? Or worse, what if whatever it was built to fight comes back while we're sitting around waiting?" Dr. Elena Myers, the astrophysicist, sat quietly, her mind racing. She had spent hours analyzing the data from the alien ship and was still piecing together fragments of its language. "The hologram mentioned a threat," she said finally. "It didn't give us specifics, but the tone was urgent. Whatever this ship was designed to stop must have been dangerous enough to justify building something so powerful. If we walk away now, we might be ignoring a warning meant to protect us." Alex listened carefully, weighing their arguments. He trusted his team, and he knew they were right. This wasn't just about exploration anymore. It was about responsibility. "Then it's settled," he said. "We'll attempt to activate the ship, but we need to be careful. We don't know what kind of defenses or systems are still operational. If anything feels wrong, we pull back immediately." With the decision made, Ryan got to work. He returned to the alien ship with Maria and Elena, carrying tools and equipment from the horizon. Alex stayed behind on the bridge, ready to provide support if needed. Inside the vast chamber where they had encountered the hologram, Ryan knelt beside the console, studying its intricate design. The glowing symbols shifted, subtly as he touched them, responding to his presence. "This is incredible," he muttered under his breath. "It's almost like it's alive." He pulled out a small scanner and began mapping the console's layout, searching for a way to interface with it. It wasn't easy. Everything about the ship was foreign, from the materials used to the logic behind its construction. But Ryan was determined. After several hours of trial and error, he managed to trigger a response. A low hum filled the chamber, growing louder as lights flickered to life throughout the ship. "It's working," Elena exclaimed, her eyes wide with excitement. "You did it." But their celebration was short-lived. As the ship powered up, alarms blared, startling the team. Red warning lights flashed along the walls, and mechanical whirring echoed through the corridors. Suddenly, small drones appeared, hovering silently before darting toward them. Their sleek metallic bodies gleamed menacingly in the dim light. "Defense protocols," Maria shouted, drawing her weapon. "They think we're intruders." The drones moved quickly, forcing the team to retreat deeper into the ship. Maria fired a few shots, disabling one of the drones, but more kept coming. "We can't stay here," she yelled over the noise. "We need to find cover." Ryan grabbed his tools and followed Maria down a narrow corridor, Elena close behind. They ducked into a side room, sealing the door behind them just as the drones reached it. The machines buzzed angrily outside, trying to force their way in. For a moment, panic gripped the group. They were trapped, surrounded by an unknown enemy. "We need to shut these things down," Ryan said, his voice steady despite the chaos. "If I can access the central system, maybe I can override the defense protocols." "And how do you plan to do that?" Maria asked sharply. "We're stuck in here." Elena stepped forward, pointing to a panel on the wall. "There might be another console here. If we can tap into it, we could reroute power or disable the drones remotely." Ryan nodded and got to work. His fingers flew over the unfamiliar controls, guided by instinct and sheer determination. The others watched anxiously as the lights on the panel blinked and changed colors. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the humming outside stopped. The drones fell silent, retreating back into the shadows. "That should hold them off. For now," Ryan said, wiping sweat from his brow. "But we're not safe yet. This ship is smarter than we thought." Maria glanced at the sealed door, her hand still resting on her weapon. "What do you mean?" "I mean," Ryan replied, "this thing isn't just reacting to us, it's learning. Every move we make, every action we take, it's adapting. If we don't find a way to communicate with it properly, we're going to keep running into problems." As if on cue, the holographic figure reappeared, hovering above the console. This time its movements were gentler, less aggressive. It emitted a series of soft tones, pausing as if waiting for a response. Elena activated her translation device again, hoping to establish some form of dialogue. "It wants to talk," she said cautiously. "It's asking, no, demanding to know who we are." Alex's voice crackled through their comms. "Tell it we come in peace," he instructed. "Explain that we're explorers, not invaders." Elena hesitated, choosing her words carefully. She spoke slowly, letting the device translate her message into the alien language. The hologram paused, seemingly considering her words. Then it responded, its tone softer but still cautious. "It says it recognizes our intent," Elena translated. "But it needs proof. Proof that we're worthy of controlling this ship." "Worthy?" Maria repeated, frowning. "What does that even mean?" "It means we have to earn its trust," Alex said, joining the conversation via the comms. "This ship wasn't abandoned, it was left behind for a reason. Whoever built it wanted to make sure only the right people could use it. We need to show them we're those people." Over the next few hours, the team worked together to demonstrate their capabilities. Ryan repaired sections of the ship that had fallen into disrepair, showcasing his technical skills. Maria tested the ship's navigation systems, proving her ability to handle its complex controls. Elena continued decoding the alien language, uncovering fragments of the builder's history and sharing her findings with the hologram. Slowly, but surely the ship began to respond, lowering its defenses and granting them limited access to its systems. Finally, the hologram addressed them directly. Through Elena's translations, it explained that the ship was called Eos, named after the dawn in the builder's mythology. It had been constructed to combat a cosmic threat known as the Void Wraiths, entities that consumed stars and left destruction in their wake. The last surviving members of the builder's civilization had programmed Eos to await successors capable of wielding its power responsibly. The Void Wraiths, Elena whispered, her voice trembling. They're real, and they could come back. Alex took a deep breath, absorbing the weight of the information. Then we don't have a choice, he said firmly. We have to learn everything we can about this ship. If the Void Wraiths return, humanity will need Eos to survive. The team exchanged solemn glances, knowing the road ahead would be difficult, but they also knew they couldn't turn back. They had been given a chance to protect not just Earth, but the entire galaxy. And they weren't going to waste it. For the rest of the day, they explored Eos, marveling at its advanced technology and ancient design. Each corridor held new wonders, each console revealed deeper mysteries. Though the ship was old, it pulsed with energy, as if eager to fulfill its purpose once more. By the time they returned to the horizon, exhaustion had set in, but their spirits were high. As Alex stood on the bridge, gazing out at the alien vessel, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. They had awakened a sleeping giant, and though the challenges ahead were daunting, he believed in his team's ability to rise to the occasion. Together they would unlock the secrets of Eos and prepare for whatever dangers lurked in the stars. And so, humanity's journey into the unknown took a bold, new step. Little did they know their greatest trials and triumphs were yet to come. The days turned into weeks as the crew of the Horizon worked tirelessly to understand Eos. The ship was vast, its systems complex and alien, but every discovery brought them closer to unlocking its full potential. Commander Alex Carter led the effort, dividing tasks among his team based on their strengths. Ryan focused on deciphering the engineering behind Eos's machinery, Maria tested its flight controls, and Elena delved deeper into the archives, left by the builders. Each step forward revealed more about the ship and about themselves. But Eos wasn't content to simply hand over its secrets. It demanded proof that the crew was worthy of its power. Through the hologram, it communicated that they would need to pass a series of trials, tests designed to measure their courage, intelligence, and unity. Failure meant being locked out forever. Success meant gaining complete control of the ship. There was no room for error. The first trial came unexpectedly. One morning, as Ryan worked on repairing a damaged section of the hull, the lights in the corridor dimmed, plunging him into near darkness. Before he could react, the walls shifted, closing off exits and creating a maze-like structure. A voice echoed through the chamber, the same toneless, otherworldly sound from the hologram. Trial 1, Elena translated quickly, her translation device beeping as she analyzed the message. Navigate the labyrinth, solve the puzzles within. Ryan hesitated, glancing around at the twisting passages. He wasn't alone. Maria and Elena had been nearby when the trial began, and now they were trapped with him. Together they moved cautiously through the maze, searching for clues. Along the way they encountered strange symbols glowing faintly on the walls. These weren't random. They formed patterns, almost like equations. "This is your department," Maria said, nudging Elena. "What do they mean?" Elena studied the symbols carefully, her brow furrowed in concentration. "It's math, advanced geometry. If I solve these, it might open a path forward." With Ryan keeping watch for traps and Maria guarding against any surprises, Elena worked quickly. Piece by piece, she unraveled the puzzles, triggering mechanisms that opened doors or revealed hidden paths. Hours passed, but they eventually reached the end of the maze. As the walls shifted back into place, the hologram reappeared, acknowledging their success. "You have shown logic and teamwork," it said through Elena's translations. "Proceed to the next trial." The second trial tested their physical endurance. This time, Maria took the lead. She found herself standing inside what looked like a massive hangar bay, except there was no floor. Instead, floating platforms hovered at varying heights, forming an obstacle course suspended in midair. The hologram instructed her to navigate the course while avoiding hazards that appeared without warning: energy beams, collapsing platforms, and even bursts of simulated gravity. Maria didn't hesitate. Years of piloting starships had honed her reflexes and spatial awareness. She leapt from platform to platform, twisting and turning to dodge the obstacles. At one point, a sudden gust of artificial wind nearly knocked her off balance, but she steadied herself just in time. Sweat dripped down her face as she pushed forward, determination driving her onward. When she finally reached the end, landing safely on solid ground, the hologram spoke again. "You have demonstrated agility and resilience. Another step toward proving yourselves." The third trial was perhaps the most challenging. It pulled Ryan into a simulation where he had to repair a malfunctioning reactor core under extreme conditions. The environment was chaotic. Electromagnetic pulses disrupted his tools, and alarms blared constantly, making it hard to focus. But Ryan thrived under pressure. He methodically assessed the damage, improvising solutions when standard procedures failed. His hands moved swiftly, connecting wires and stabilizing circuits until the reactor roared back to life. As the simulation ended, the hologram praised his ingenuity. "You have proven resourcefulness and skill. Only one trial remains." The final trial was unlike anything they had faced before. When the crew regrouped in the central chamber, the hologram enveloped them in a shared virtual reality. They found themselves standing in a desolate landscape, surrounded by swirling storms and crumbling ruins. It felt eerily real, as though they had been transported to another world entirely. Suddenly, each member of the team was separated, forced to confront their deepest fears. For Alex, it was the memory of losing his younger brother during a rescue mission years ago. He relived the moment over and over, questioning whether he truly deserved to lead. Doubt gnawed at him, threatening to overwhelm his resolve. Maria faced her own nightmare, a vision of failing to protect those she cared about. She saw the horizon destroyed, her friends lost because of her mistakes. Her confidence wavered, but she reminded herself of all the times she had succeeded. She couldn't give up now. Ryan's trial tapped into his insecurities. He saw himself failing repeatedly, unable to fix critical systems or save the team. The weight of responsibility crushed him, but he fought back, remembering every success he'd achieved despite the odds. Elena's challenge was quieter but no less intense. She stood alone in a vast library, surrounded by books and scrolls written in languages she couldn't understand. The knowledge she sought always seemed just out of reach, mocking her efforts. Yet she persevered, reminding herself that learning was a process, not a destination. Eventually, the illusions began to fade. The team realized they weren't truly alone. Their bond gave them strength. Alex called out to his crewmates, urging them to hold on. Maria shouted encouragement, reminding everyone of their shared purpose. Ryan and Elena joined in, their voices blending together in defiance. When the virtual reality dissolved, they were back in the central chamber, breathless but victorious. The hologram materialized before them, its glow softer this time. "You have faced your fears and emerged stronger," it said. "Through unity you have proven yourselves worthy." With the trials complete, EOS fully opened its systems to them. The ship's engines hummed with newfound energy, its weapon systems came online, and its navigation interface lit up with possibilities. The crew marveled at the power at their fingertips, knowing they now carried the responsibility of protecting humanity, and possibly the entire galaxy. Over the following days, they trained rigorously, learning to operate EOS with precision. Ryan became the go-to expert on maintenance, ensuring every component functioned flawlessly. Maria mastered the ship's combat maneuvers, turning it into a fortress capable of defending Earth. Elena continued studying the builder's archives, uncovering blueprints for technologies far beyond human understanding. News of their discovery spread back to Earth, sparking hope among billions who once feared the unknown reaches of space. Yet even as they prepared for the future, the shadow of the void wraiths loomed large. The builder's records warned that these cosmic entities were relentless, driven by an insatiable hunger for destruction. Though the wraiths hadn't been seen in millennia, their return was inevitable. And when they did come, Eos would be humanity's only defense. Alex often stood on the bridge of Eos, gazing out at the stars. The ship felt alive beneath his feet, humming with energy and purpose. He thought about how far they had come, from stumbling upon an ancient relic to becoming stewards of its legacy. Their journey was far from over, but he believed in his team's ability to face whatever lay ahead. Together they patrolled the galaxy, acting as Earth's first line of defense. Along the way, they encountered other civilizations, forging alliances, and sharing knowledge. Humanity's place in the cosmos evolved from isolated explorers to guardians of the stars. The crew of the Horizon knew they were part of something greater than themselves, and they embraced the challenge with unwavering determination. And so, Eos sailed onward, carrying the dreams of a species ready to embrace its destiny among the stars. Months turned into years as the crew of the Horizon continued their mission aboard Eos. The ancient Star Destroyer had become more than just a ship. It was their home, their responsibility, and their greatest weapon. Every day brought new challenges, but also new discoveries. The team worked tirelessly to master its systems, learning how to use its immense power wisely. They knew the Void Wraiths could return at any moment, and they wanted to be ready. Commander Alex Carter led with steady determination. He spent long hours on the bridge, studying star maps and coordinating patrols. Under his leadership, the Yayu crew transformed from explorers into guardians. They no longer searched for answers, they sought to protect. Maria Lopez became an expert at piloting Eos, her skills unmatched as she maneuvered the massive vessel through asteroid fields and dense nebulae. Ryan Cole kept the ship running smoothly, repairing and upgrading its alien technology. And Dr. Elena Myers delved deeper into the builder's archives, uncovering secrets that could change the course of humanity's future. One of Elena's most significant discoveries came during a routine analysis of the builder's records. She found blueprints for advanced energy shields capable of deflecting even the strongest attacks. With Ryan's help, they adapted the design to fit Earth's existing defense systems. When news of this breakthrough reached Earth, it sparked a wave of innovation. Cities built new protective barriers and space stations were fortified against potential threats. Humanity began preparing for survival in ways they never imagined possible. But the crew didn't focus solely on Earth. As they traveled across the galaxy, they encountered other civilizations, some peaceful, others wary, and a few openly hostile. Through diplomacy and strength, Alex and his team forged alliances wherever they went. They shared knowledge from the builder's archives, offering solutions to problems that had plagued these species for generations. In return, they gained allies who promised to stand with them if the Void Wraiths returned. Despite their growing confidence, there were moments of doubt. The weight of their mission sometimes felt overwhelming. One evening, after a long day of training exercises, Alex sat alone in the observation deck, staring out at the endless expanse of stars. Ryan joined him, carrying 2 cups of steaming coffee. "You look like you've got something heavy on your mind," Ryan said, handing 1 cup to Alex. Alex took a sip before responding. "Do you ever wonder if we're doing enough? If we'll really be ready when the time comes?" Ryan nodded slowly. "All the time. But I remind myself of what we've already done. We've learned to fly a ship older than our entire civilization. We've made friends among the stars, and we've given Earth a fighting chance." "That's true," Alex admitted with a faint smile. "Still, it's hard not to feel like we're racing against something we can't see." Ryan clapped him on the shoulder. "That's why we stick together. No matter what happens, we've got each other's backs." Their conversation shifted to lighter topics, but the underlying tension remained. Everyone aboard Eos carried the same burden, the knowledge that their actions could determine the fate of billions. Yet they pressed on, driven by duty and hope. Over time, the crew grew closer, their bond stronger than ever. They celebrated small victories, a successful test of the weapon system, a new alliance formed, or even just a quiet meal shared together. These moments reminded them of why they fought so hard. They weren't just protecting Earth, they were building a legacy. Then one day, everything changed. It started with a faint disturbance in the sensors, a ripple in the fabric of space itself. At first, the crew thought it might be a natural phenomenon, like a collapsing star or a rogue black hole. But as the readings grew clearer, a chilling realization set in. Something was coming. Something vast and incomprehensible. The void wraiths, Elena whispered, her voice trembling as she analyzed the data. They're here. The crew sprang into action. Alex ordered Eos to intercept the threat, positioning the ship between the incoming entity and Earth. Maria guided the vessel with precision, navigating through treacherous regions of space to reach the disturbance. Ryan monitored the ship's systems, ensuring every weapon and shield was primed for combat. Elena coordinated communications, reaching out to their allies for support. When the Void Wraith emerged, it defied description. It wasn't a single creature but a swarm, a writhing mass of shadowy tendrils that consumed everything in its path. Stars flickered and died as it passed, leaving behind only emptiness. Its presence radiated coldness, a void that seemed to drain the life from anything nearby. Target locked, Maria announced, her hands steady on the controls. Weapons online. Fire at will, Alex commanded, his voice calm despite the terror gripping his heart. The battle was unlike anything they had experienced. Eos unleashed salvos of energy blasts, targeting the Wraith's core. For a moment it seemed to work. The tendrils recoiled, and the entity slowed. But then, it retaliated with devastating force. Waves of dark energy surged toward them, battering. Yes, shields. Alarms blared as the crew scrambled to compensate. We can't hold out forever, Ryan shouted, frantically rerouting power to reinforce the shields. Keep firing, Alex ordered. We have to weaken it. Through sheer determination, they managed to create an opening. Elena activated a device based on the builder's designs, a pulse emitter designed to disrupt the Wraith's cohesion. With Maria holding the ship steady and Ryan boosting the emitter's output, they unleashed the pulse. A brilliant flash of light engulfed the battlefield, and for a moment everything went silent. When the light faded, the Void Wraith was gone. Not destroyed, perhaps, but dispersed, its essence scattered across the cosmos. The immediate threat had been neutralized, though the crew knew it might return someday. Exhausted but victorious, they gathered on the bridge to assess the damage. Eos had suffered significant wear, but nothing that couldn't be repaired. More importantly, Earth and countless other worlds had been saved. As the days passed, word of their triumph spread throughout the galaxy. The crew of Eos became legends, hailed as heroes who had stood against the darkness and prevailed. Back on Earth, monuments were erected in their honor, and stories of their bravery inspired generations to come. For Alex and his team, however, the fight wasn't over. They knew the Void Wraiths were still out there, lurking in the depths of space. But they also knew they had proven themselves worthy of Eos. Together, they would continue their mission, patrolling the stars and standing guard against any threat that dared approach. Years later, as Alex stood once again on the observation deck of Eos, he reflected on their journey. From the moment they discovered the ancient ship to their victory over the Void Wraith, they had faced unimaginable challenges. Yet through courage, teamwork, and perseverance, they had risen to meet them all. In the distance, a new star twinkled to life, born from the remnants left behind by the Wraith's defeat. It was a reminder that even in the face of destruction, creation could emerge. Humanity's destiny among the stars was far from certain, but Alex believed with all his heart that they were ready to embrace it. And so, Eos sailed onward, its engines humming with purpose. The crew of the Horizon had become more than explorers or warriors. They were guardians, protectors of a fragile yet resilient species determined to carve its place in the universe. Their story was far from finished, but one thing was clear. Earth's original Star Destroyer would always be there to light the way. The victory over the Void Wraith brought a brief moment of peace, but it was fleeting. The crew of EOS knew better than to let their guard down. The battle had left scars, not just on their ship, but on their minds. They had faced an enemy beyond comprehension, one that could return at any time. For now, though, they focused on recovery and preparation, knowing that complacency was their greatest threat. Commander Alex Carter called a meeting in the central chamber of EOS. The team gathered around the glowing console, their faces tired, but determined. "We did something incredible," Alex began, his voice calm but firm. "But we can't stop here. The Void Wraiths are still out there, and next time we might not be so lucky." Maria nodded, her sharp eyes scanning the group. "We need to upgrade EOS. That last fight pushed us to our limits. If we're going to stand a chance against them again, we have to make this ship stronger." Ryan leaned forward, his hands resting on the edge of the console. "I've been thinking about that. There's still so much of EOS we haven't fully understood. The Builder's technology is far ahead of anything we've seen before. If we can unlock more of its secrets, we might be able to boost its power." Dr. Elena Myers added, "And we should keep studying the archives. The Builders didn't just leave us a ship, they gave us knowledge. Maybe there's something in those records that can help us predict where the Void Wraiths will strike next." Alex agreed. "Then it's settled. Ryan, focus on upgrading EOS. Maria, work with me on improving our combat strategies. And Elena, dig deeper into the archives. Let's find every advantage we can." With renewed purpose, the crew threw themselves into their tasks. Ryan spent long hours in the engineering bay, poring over schematics and running simulations. He discovered hidden systems within EOS, ancient mechanisms that had lain dormant for millennia. Slowly, he began activating them, integrating their functions into the ship's existing operations. One breakthrough came when he unlocked a secondary weapons array, capable of firing concentrated beams of energy that could pierce even the toughest defenses. Maria worked tirelessly in the flight simulator, testing new maneuvers and tactics. She pushed EOS to its limits, experimenting with high-speed dodges and precision targeting. Her goal was simple: make the ship faster, smarter, and deadlier. By the time she finished, EOS handled like an extension of her own body, responding instantly to her commands. Meanwhile, Elena delved deeper into the Builder's archives, uncovering fragments of history that hinted at the origins of the Void Wraiths. She learned that these entities were not natural phenomena, but creations, weapons gone rogue, unleashed by a rival civilization in a desperate bid for dominance. The Builders had sacrificed everything to contain them, leaving behind EOS as humanity's last hope. Armed with this knowledge, Elena shared her findings with the team, urging them to remain vigilant. As the weeks passed, the crew grew stronger and more united. They trained together, practiced emergency drills, and refined their coordination. Even during moments of rest, they found ways to bond. Meals became a time for laughter and storytelling, while quiet evenings in the observation deck offered opportunities for reflection. Each member of the team carried their own burdens, but they supported one another, drawing strength from their shared mission. One day, as they patrolled a distant sector of space, EOS's sensors picked up an unusual signal. It was faint, almost imperceptible, but unmistakably artificial. Alex ordered the ship to investigate, his instincts telling him this was important. When they arrived at the source, they found a derelict vessel drifting silently among the stars. Its design was unfamiliar, neither human nor matching the Builder's style. Maria guided EOS closer, her fingers steady on the controls. "It looks abandoned," she said, "but I'm picking up life signs inside." The team suited up and boarded the mysterious craft. Inside, they found evidence of a once thriving society. Personal belongings scattered across the floor, consoles frozen mid-operation, and walls covered in strange symbols. But what caught their attention most was a group of survivors huddled. In a corner, their faces gaunt and eyes wide with fear. "They're refugees," Elena realized, stepping forward cautiously. They must have fled their homeworld when the void wraiths attacked. The survivors spoke in halting tones, their language unfamiliar but decipherable thanks to Elena's translation device. They told a harrowing tale of destruction, their planet consumed by the void wraiths, their people wiped out in a matter of days. Only a handful had escaped, fleeing aboard this damaged ship in search of safety. Alex listened intently, his expression grave. "You're safe now," he assured them. "We'll take you to a nearby colony. They'll help you rebuild." The refugees expressed their gratitude, tears streaming down their faces. As the crew escorted them back to Eos, they couldn't help but feel a renewed sense of purpose. This was why they fought, not just to protect Earth, but to safeguard all life in the galaxy. Back aboard Eos, the crew reflected on what they had witnessed. The devastation caused by the void wraiths was unimaginable, a stark reminder of the stakes they faced. Yet amidst the darkness, there was hope. Humanity had allies, both old and new, willing to stand alongside them. Together, they could face any challenge. In the months that followed, the crew continued their patrols, expanding their reach deeper into uncharted space. They encountered other civilizations, some eager to join their cause and others hesitant but curious. Through diplomacy and shared experiences, Alex and his team built a coalition, a network of planets and species united against the common threat. During one such mission, they stumbled upon a hidden outpost belonging to the Builders. It was a massive structure buried beneath the surface of a barren moon, untouched by time. Inside, they found advanced technology, including blueprints for a weapon capable of permanently neutralizing the void wraiths. The discovery filled them with cautious optimism. If they could construct this weapon, they might finally end the threat once and for all. Ryan immediately set to work, adapting the designs to fit Eos systems. Maria tested prototypes in simulated environments, refining each component until it met their exacting standards. Elena coordinated efforts between the Builders' archives and the team's engineers, ensuring every detail was accounted for. It was a monumental task, but they approached it with unwavering determination. Finally, after months of effort, the weapon was ready. Dubbed the Dawnbreaker, it harnessed the combined energy of Eos' core and the Builders' ancient technology. When activated, it would emit a pulse capable of destabilizing the Void Wraith's essence, rendering them inert. It was risky. Using the Dawnbreaker meant channeling every ounce of Eos's power, but the crew knew it was their best chance. As they prepared for deployment, Alex gathered the team in the central chamber. "This is it," he said, his voice steady despite the weight of the moment. "Everything we've done has led us here. We've trained, fought, and sacrificed to get to this point. Now, it's time to finish what the Builders started." One by one, the crew voiced their resolve. Maria promised to guide Eos through whatever lay ahead. Ryan vowed to keep the ship running no matter what. Elena pledged to ensure the Dawnbreaker functioned perfectly, and Alex, as always, led with unwavering courage. When the Void Wraiths returned, the crew was ready. This time, they lured the entity into a trap, positioning Eos at the heart of a collapsing star system. As the Wraith surged toward them, Maria executed a daring maneuver, keeping the ship just out of reach. Ryan monitored the systems, rerouting power to sustain the shields. Elena activated the Dawnbreaker, her hands trembling but steady. The weapon fired, unleashing a blinding wave of energy that engulfed the Void Wraith. For a moment, the universe seemed to hold its breath. Then, with a deafening roar, the Wraith disintegrated, its shadowy form dissolving into nothingness. Silence fell over the bridge as the crew absorbed what had happened. They had done it. Against all odds, they had succeeded. In the aftermath, the galaxy celebrated. The Void Wraiths were gone, their threat erased forever. The crew of Eos returned to Earth as heroes, their names etched into history. But for Alex, Maria, Ryan, and Elena, the journey was far from over. They knew that the universe held countless mysteries yet to be uncovered and dangers yet to be faced. As Eos sailed onward, its engines humming with purpose, The crew looked toward the horizon. Their mission had evolved from survival to exploration, from defense to discovery. They were no longer just guardians of Earth. They were pioneers of the stars. And so humanity's first star destroyer continued its voyage, carrying the dreams of a species ready to embrace its destiny among the cosmos.